Staying with footballing matters, FIFA held a global summit today to discuss their plans for holding the World Cup every 2 years. The idea was first brought up at the FIFA Congress in May. CAF have said they are supporting the initiative along with the South African Football Association. SAFA President Danny Jordaan joins us now from Qatar. Very good evening and welcome to Newzroom Afrika.
Good evening.
Danny, can you tell us what happened at the summit today? I understand that 2 independent feasibility studies were projected, that there would be a strong upturn in football's economic situation for the member associations if this were to go ahead with a World Cup every 2 years.
Yes, today was a follow-up Zoom summit in May this year. On the 21st of May, a decision was taken that there must be a feasibility study done on 3 areas of international football. 1, women's football, 2, youth football, and 3, then the World Cup, which includes men's World Cup and the women's World Cup. And today, Arsene Wenger, who was in charge of the project, together with Jill Ellis, who was the USA women's coach, who won the last Women's World Cup, then reported back today to the summit. And in essence, they are proposing that further refinement must be done, but overall they think it's in the interest of global football that 1, the youth competitions must be held regularly or annually, and that we should look at under 16 and under 18 World Cup, because they said to play a youth World Cup every second year means that there are 16 or 18-year-olds that will lose out, because in the year when they turn 16, there will not be a tournament. And to create that continuity, it must be held every year. The second area, of course, was the women's progress and Women's World Cup. They've agreed that they will proceed with the feasibility study to introduce the Women's Club World Cup. Now, of course, Mamelodi Sundowns has just won the African Cup of Nations, or the African Club Championships, which should have qualified them for the Women's Club World Cup. So they have to do it again to qualify for the Women's Club World Cup. Then also the Women's World Cup for every second year, including looking at investing more in women's football, including recognizing that women footballers must also get to a position where they can earn a living from practicing their trade or playing. So that was a key focus area. And then lastly, of course, is the Men's World Cup. And there again, Arsene Wenger pointed out that of the World Cups held, out of the 211 members, the 91 of those World Cups was dominated by South America and Europe. And that Africa, for example, has only 27 countries out of 54 played in the World Cup. No, the reason for that is, of course, twofold. 1, that Africa has very few places in the World Cup, or had up until now, and that we hope that Africa will have more places. The African qualifiers, as you may know, are now in a position of the final stage where 10 countries will play off, and out of the 10, only 5 will go to the World Cup in Qatar. While in the side of Europe, they have 13 countries going to the World Cup, and this has been the position.
Danny, just now because you're there, I just want to
91
ask you something. I'm so sorry to interrupt you.
Okay.
Just because you're there, what happened with the consideration into appealing the FIFA finding, into the appeal that SAFA launched against the referee in the Ghana qualifier?
Well, as you know, that FIFA wrote a one-liner, and the CEO of SAFA wrote back to FIFA to say, we would like more information. What was the basis for coming to that one-liner decision? And we have not received any response yet. Of course, the people who are here, the President, Gianni Infantino, is here together with Fatma Samora. I did not have a chance yet to make a follow-up with them, but essentially it must come from the legal department and the disciplinary officials in Zurich, and none of them are here. So we are waiting, and the final draw, of course, will take place in January, where the last 10 countries will play off, and then we'll have the 5 from Africa.
Will you bring it up with the President and Fatma Samora when you do see them?
Yeah, they are in the same hotel. We are sharing the hotel here, and of course they were busy preparing for the summit on the future of football, and that summit has concluded, so I hope that tomorrow we'll find some time to talk about this matter.
What was the reaction from UEFA? They've been very vocal opponents to a biennial World Cup.
Yes, the UEFA delegates were very clear that they oppose the idea of a World Cup every second year. But as we pointed out to them, the strange thing is that UEFA has, since objecting to more competitions, have themselves started what they call a Nations League, which added 148 matches on the international match calendar of UEFA. And while they object that we are playing too many matches, they have just extended an invitation to invite all of the South American countries to join the UEFA Nations League. In other words, it's now even going to be a bigger league, which means more teams. And one of the things that they argue is player fatigue, player health that must be considered. And we agree that player health and player fatigue is a major issue. But if you play a competition between Europe and South America, it's probably the 2 furthest points on earth that you must travel by plane, I assume, to fly and to play against Chile and Argentina and then fly back to Europe. So it's something that is difficult to understand. But these are the issues that will need further discussion. And there is a meeting again of FIFA in March next year in Qatar, in Doha, and we hope it will be a face-to-face meeting so there can be a proper debate on these issues.
Player welfare is top of mind, especially when we think about the upcoming Africa Cup of Nations. And we heard that CAF President Patrice Motsepe has made an emergency trip to Cameroon, the hosts of the upcoming Africa Cup of Nations, to ensure that player welfare will be looked after. What do you know about this, and will the tournament, the Africa Cup of Nations, in fact go ahead in Cameroon as scheduled?
Well, there was a meeting of the CAF executive on Sunday, and in that meeting we had agreed that the president of CAF will take a special flight to Cameroon. He is, of course, also in Doha, in Qatar. The CAF Super League is here, and Pitso Mosamani, of course, his team will be playing in the Super League, the Super Cup final. So we traveled down to Cameroon and to deal with these issues. One, the state of readiness to ensure that everything is in place. And secondly, which is an unknown, is what exactly would be the health position and the compliance as the virus is now peaking in some areas. I listened to the news in South Africa. I'm happy to know that at least in Gauteng it has now peaked and is going down. So this is an unknown. We'll have to wait and see.
So no word yet, any feedback from that meeting and from his meeting with the government today?
No, there will be a further meeting, and as soon after the final of the Super Cup, there will be a follow-up meeting where the president of CAF, Dr. Matsepe, will give a full report to the executive and also make an assessment of the medical state of readiness in Cameroon. And we will have to await those reports.
Danny Jordaan is the president of SAFA, the South African Football Association, speaking to us from the UAE. We thank you very much for your time on Newzroom Afrika this evening, speaking all things football.